Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar, Rover and Zest Product Enhancements, the Room Diary Pilot Release and Other Update. I'm your host, Justin DeRisi, the Customer Marketer here at Stayntouch. Today's presentation will be delivered by James Lee, the Implementation Consultant here at Stayntouch. This webinar will cover a number of different areas from the Rover version 5.7 and 5.8 product updates. We're going to cover a number of new content items in Rover's login screen. We're going to explore a major update of the room diary, which it will include changes to the layout, new streamlined appearance, and toggles for reserved and available rooms. We're going to cover a variety of other enhancements in 5.7 and 5.8. This will include manual credit card authorizations, split rates for accompanying guests, a bulk checkout option, and additional languages for Zest Station. We will also discover new client-suggested updates from our feature forum, including a new invoice search and enhancements to the group summary screen. Finally, we will learn about some country and region-specific requirements. We will be taking questions throughout this webinar. If you have any questions, just enter them in the questions tab in your control panel. We will take questions, well, you can ask questions throughout the webinar, but we will be taking them towards the end. I'm actually going to cover the new Rover login screen. If you notice here, previously we just had a blank login screen and you could enter your information and get into Rover. And now we've completely changed the appearance and made it into something of a training, knowledge, and support hub. So if you look at the different menu options on the left side of the screen, you'll each of these lead to a separate landing tab. It's not an independent page, but it's a panel overlaid onto your screen. And from here, you'll be able to sign up for additional customer webinars. So that includes product enhancement webinars as well as our best practice series. We will also be featuring sort of best practice examples from hotels that are really exemplifying sort of the new way to implement mobility. You can also sign up for the Stay in Touch customer newsletter, which covers the latest trends in hospitality technology. You can access our knowledge base. So if you ever have a question on how to use Rover and Zest, this is sort of the Wikipedia that you can access to answer your questions. And if you can't find the answer there, you can always follow the final menu option, which is to contact customer support. And our customer support and client success team will be more than happy to help you with whatever you need. Finally, this is actually one of those country-specific changes. If you notice in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, in very faint gray font, there's the Rover version number. Right now it's version 5.8.0.1. This is to comply with Swedish law. So if you're in Sweden, you'll be able to see that. And with that, I am going to hand the presentation over to James, and he will tell you all about the room diary and all of the other fun updates in Rover.
Thanks, Justin.
Thank you very much.
All right.
And we're seeing your screen, James.
Okay, maybe on the wrong screen, sorry. Everybody see Rover now?
I do.
Okay. Sorry, I had it on the wrong screen. Thanks, Justin. Well, hi, everyone. My name is James. I'm with Stay in Touch, and today we're going to be reviewing some of our new enhancements that we released in our new version here. Let me bring in my notes over there. So I'm going to log into my training environment. And the first thing we're going to go over is our brand new room diary. I'm going to log into the James Hotel. And to access the room diary, I'm going to go to the main menu and go into front desk, and I'm going to choose the room diary here. Now, those who are familiar with our room diary, over here on the left, not much has changed. You see the room numbers, you see the dates, you see the people that are currently blocked in those rooms or that in-house. You can also see people that were in-house the night previous to see who is checking out today. Some of the changes that we've done, we now allow the ability to extend reservations directly from the room diary. If you'll notice, if I go to find Mark Ruffalo's reservation, he's scheduled to depart today, but maybe he comes down to the front desk and decides that he wants to stay another night. From here, I can actually click on his reservation. And when I do, I get these two little tabs up here at the top. And from here, I can just extend the departure date by 1 night. It's going to check availability to make sure that it's available. And then over here on the right side, let me hide my little menu here, I have the option to save the changes. And now I have extended that reservation for 1 night. If you have no availability, you'll notice, for example, on Diana Prince arriving on August 12th, if I click on her reservation and extend it 1 night, oh, let me go back 1 day here, scroll forward 1 day. And if I click on Diana Prince and try to extend her 1 night, it's actually going to tell me that I have a room type has a restriction in here. If I had no availability, the message would just say that you have no availability. So it does check the availability to make sure that you have it before you can extend the reservation. All right, let me go back to today's date. You'll notice in my training hotel, my date isn't current right now because it is a training environment. Go back 1 more. Okay, over here on the right, we have introduced a new area where we can show all the reservations that are currently due to check in that particular date. And these are the reservations that are currently unassigned to rooms. So I have no rooms blocked for these reservations. If I want to block a room, I can actually pick on a reservation. If I click on, say, Benedict Cumberbatch here, that brings up his reservation. And now I see have the rooms that are available to book in. Oh, wait, hold on. This is not showing the way it should. I'm going to refresh my screen here. Give me just 1 second. A little technical difficulties here. All right, so now if I click on Benedict Cumberbatch's reservation, it's going to show me room numbers that I have available to assign to him. And from here, I can click on one of these rooms. Let's say I wanted to put him in room 104. I can click on 104. And now that he is removed from the unassigned block, I can see that he is actually in on the room diary blocked in room 104. If I wanted to unassign the room number, let's say, for example, I wanted to, maybe I assigned that room by mistake, I can click on his reservation. And over here on the right, I do have a white button that says unassigned room. By clicking on that, that will remove the room number from that reservation. And he has now been moved back to the unassigned rooms. We also have the ability to change a room number. Let's say, for example, I have Tom Holland here. He is scheduled to come in today, but that means I only have this room available for 1 night. If I wanted to, change that 1 night hole and move him to a reservation that's checking out the next day, that allows me to open up 106 to be blocked for multi-night reservations. So if I wanted to move him, I could click on his reservation, and then I have an option to move the room. If I click on move room, it'll give me the other rooms that I can move him to. And then from here, I can move him to 105, and that will help eliminate that 1 night hole that I had for that 106. We also introduced the ability to make a reservation from the screen. Up here at the top where I see reserved and available, if I click on available, this will actually show me my room numbers, and I can actually book the reservation. So from here, if I wanted to book room 108 for Wednesday, August 9th, I could actually click on 108 for that particular date. And then that will take me to the reservation process. And I'm just going to make a room under my name. And And now you can see he is blocked in room 109. And then I can finish up my reservation. And once I've confirmed the reservation, I now have the option. Usually we only had these 3 options, but if you make your reservation from the diary, you also have the option to go back to the diary, and you are back in your room diary here. All right. The next thing we're going to talk about is credit card manual authorization. And my training hotel isn't really set up to accept credit cards, so I'm going to actually jump over to our demo property in our live environment, which is the Wexford Bay Hotel. We have now introduced the ability, if you are with MerchantLink, to be able to input a manual credit card authorization. If you get a message maybe when you swipe a credit card and it tells you to call for approval, you might have to get on the phone and call MerchantLink and get approval over the phone. They may give you a manual authorization at that point. If you need to be able to input that, you can type in, click on the credit card authorization button here. You can type in, you can check the box here for voice authorization. I could then type in the amount that was approved, say for $250, and then I could put the authorization code that was given to me, and it would authorize the card. And now I have that authorization. All right, I'm going to go back to my training hotel. One of the new features that we also rolled out is the ability to split charges amongst accompanying guests. If I look at my arrivals here, I have a reservation for Clark Kent. I'm going to go ahead and ignore that deposit rule. If I go to my guest up here at the very top right, I can see that Clark Kent is sharing with Bruce Wayne. And let's say they want to go ahead and split those charges with each other. If I go into bill and charges here, I would go into billing information, and this is where we set up auto transfer, where we can set up routing of charges to other entities. If I have a roommate now, it does show up here. So I can say add charges. I'm going to click on Bruce Wayne. You must identify a billing group to route charges. So I can say room and tax is going to go to, and then at the bottom here, we have split charges. So if I want to split the charges evenly, I can check that box right here, and I can save the route. And now room and tax will be split evenly, and it'll post to both bill 1 and bill 2. You could also put the payment method for bill number 2 as well. If I wanted to type a different credit card for Bruce Wayne, I can add that here. Folios will also print in that name. So when I print an invoice from bill number 2, Bruce's name will actually show up on that invoice. Another feature that we have rolled out is the ability to do bulk checkouts. You'll notice here I do have 3 reservations that are currently due out. They all have 0 balances. In my look at my departures, I have a little toggle switch up here at the top. If I want to do a bulk checkout, it tells me that I have 3 reservations that qualify for bulk checkout. Now this is looking for people who have 0 balances only, but if I wanted to, I have this checkbox here to allow open balance checkout. And what this will do is this will now include any reservation with no billing information set up and a credit card on file. So if there's any kind of routing in place, you'll still have to go in and check those out manually. But if there was a reservation with just 1 bill and a credit card and a balance, it will also check out that amount here. Housekeeping statuses, once you check out all these rooms, they will turn to dirty. So from here, I can go ahead and check out. And it will initiate this process in the background. So if you have a lot of departures that are due out today, it's not going to automatically do that, but give it a few minutes and it will process all those departures for you. One of our feature requests that we rolled out today is a new invoice search. And we have some functionality that's been added to that. Under financials, you do have an invoice search option here. And let's say I wanted to search for a particular invoice. Oops. And it will now bring up the invoice. The name of the guest is on the invoice as well as the AR account that it is attached to. From here, I have the ability to go to the stay card. I have a little double arrow over here on the right side. If I click on this, this will actually take me back to the stay card. I could look at anything on the reservation, look for notes, make any comments I need to. And we also rolled out the ability to print the invoice from here. So if I click on the blue button over here on the right, this will allow me to actually print out that particular invoice from the invoice search screen. Okay. Another feature request that we had, this is mostly for our company, for our clients that are international. A lot of our international clients require things like nationality and country residence. In our settings, under reservation and reservation settings, we have these two more options down here for forced nationality at check-in and forced country at check-in. If you have these options checked, we have introduced those fields into our groups module. So if I go to manage groups here, and I just bring up a group, I can now see I have fields for nationality as well as country listed on the group. There are a couple of requirements that we've also rolled out for certain countries. For Austria, we've released a new registration card that includes much more information. It includes accompanying guest names, accompanying guest date of birth. It also includes fields for children names and their date of birth as well, and a space for gender as well. And if you look at the snipping tool here, you can kind of give you an idea of what that reg card looks like. I don't have it activated on my property, but this is for any hotels that are in Austria. These are the requirements for the reg cards, and we just rolled that ability to do that. Another thing that we've rolled out is on our journal, and this is another requirement for Sweden. In financials, if I'm looking at my journal, and I want to print out that journal, I could print out the report here. And now at the very bottom of the numbers here, we do have a timestamp. So the time gives you the date and time that this report was ran. All right. So those are all the features that we rolled out in these two previous new versions. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to you, Justin.
Thank you very much, James, for that insightful presentation. I will now open the floor over for questions. Remember, if you have any questions, you can enter them into the question panel, which is in the, or I'm sorry, the question tab, which is in the middle of your control panel. I do see a couple of questions here. One person asks, with the room diary, what happens if you try to extend a reservation when there is no availability?
Oh yeah, actually we covered that on there. When we extended the reservation for Diana Prince, it actually gave the message that the room is unavailable. If it was a restriction or didn't meet a minimum length of stay, that restriction would also pop up during that time.
Excellent. I'm seeing another question in the queue, this time referring to the group summary. In the group summary screen, if you're using the country and nationality fields, what happens to existing reservations for that group when updating those fields?
Oh, that's a great question. It will actually populate that information to all the existing reservations. So if your group has pickup already and you change that information on the group summary, it will auto-populate all the reservations as well.
Excellent, excellent. So, I am seeing another question here. Oh, actually a few questions. So Aaron asked, for splitting bills with accompanying guests, we have quads, so rooms with 4 beds and up to 4 different guests. Will we be able to change the percentage that you split the bill with?
As of right now, we can only split the bill amongst 2 entities. So if you are splitting the bill, it can only be done with 2 guests, and it can only be done evenly, 50%.
Excellent. Helena asks, in the room diary, how do I know that the room is clean and ready for use?
That is a great question. So under room diary, if I'm looking on here, if you are looking at today's reservations, if I click on here, You know, this might be a bad example because my training hotel is not up to date. So it's looking at the date that I'm logged in versus the date of my training environment, which is back in 2017. But if my dates were current, what I would see here is color coded on the room numbers. If they were green, that would tell me that the room is ready to go. If it was red, it would tell me that room is dirty.
Excellent. So we have another question. These questions keep coming in. This is incredible. So the next question is from Edgar. Edgar asks, how can I print a country or nationality report so we can see how many guests we have from each country?
Let me take a look here. I don't know that off the top of my head. I think there is an actual export that can be ran. Let me go back to my reports here. Schedule report export. And if you run a export schedule here, we do have nationality statistics. You can run them by the month. So you'll be able to run for the previous month and look at all your nationality statistics. I'm not sure if we have a report that will just tell you currently what's in. Let me see here. I don't think we have a report currently that's going to show you that information. I do say right now, currently, because we are in the process of kind of revamping a lot of our reports, and I know that upcoming we're going to have a lot of new enhancements and new features with our reports. So hopefully that information will be able to be displayed at that time. But as of right now, it looks like the only thing we have is the ability to do an export for the previous month, and it will show you statistics on your nationalities for your guests.
Great. Our next question is from Lima. They ask, can you extend in-room diary if the room is scheduled to be blocked?
It will not let you do that. So under room diary here, if for example I had, let me make an example here. Let's say if I wanted to move Zoe Saldana to room, I'm trying to find one. Well, that's a different room type I had there. It won't let you. It will tell you the room is not available. You won't actually be able to click it here because it shows unassigned. See how this is kind of grayed out here? It would not allow me the ability to move that to another room or to extend the reservation if it was blocked.
The next question is from Peter, and Peter asks, can this system be used for timeshare resorts?
That is a loaded question. That would be something you'd probably want to talk to your client success manager about. We could definitely, if that is something you're interested in looking at, I would recommend reaching out to them. We can set up a call and kind of discuss what your goal is and ways that we can achieve that for you.
So Peter has an addendum to his question. He adds, can the system be used for timeshare resorts in which room inventory is managed by week? So I don't know if that changes your answer at all.
There are certainly workarounds that you could do. We don't have the ability to make a reservation and make it for bulk in weeks. You would have to do each night. So it'd just be like a standard reservation that you'd make for 7 nights or however many nights you're doing that. Again, that's probably something that would require a kind of conversation to go over like what you're trying to achieve and how we can get that to work for you.
Excellent. The next question is from John, and John asks, does the system auto-authorize CCs if further authorization is needed due to room changes?
We actually just rolled that functionality out. If you did extend the reservation or if the rate changed, it will authorize at that time. Even if it did not authorize at that time during the night audit process, it will call out for additional authorization.
Excellent. Lima has another question. Is there a test hotel everyone could use to get a better feel for the system?
That we can access. We try not to give that to too many people, but if you want to reach out to me directly, I can give you access to my training environment. My email is james@stayntouch.com.
Excellent. James, you can also put that into the chat box below. Just select all for the entire audience. Let's go to the next question. This is from Helena, and Helena asks, when will we be able to delete a credit card from the Stay card?
As of right now, we do not have the ability to delete credit cards. I don't know if that's going to be any kind of functionality that we're rolling out anytime soon, but right now I don't have any information on any ability to do that.
Excellent. John thanks us for our concise answer, and you're welcome, John. Thank you for asking the question. I am not seeing any questions in the queue at the moment. I'd like to give everyone a couple of seconds just in case someone is finishing typing up a question. But it looks like the queue is empty. So James, unless you have any concluding remarks, I would like to conclude our presentation. Oh, we do have one question. Again from Peter. Peter asks, can the system be integrated with a point of sale system?
Yes, we do have several point of sale systems that we do integration with. Our preferred vendor is Lightspeed POS because we do a direct integration with them over the cloud. There's no need for any kind of middleware or software for that. We also integrate with several other POS systems through our middleware called Comtrol. And that's a very hospitality standard software. Any system that integrates with that, we should be able to integrate with them as well.
Peter asks if we integrate with Revel systems.
Revel systems. I have not heard of that one. If Peter wants to leave his contact information, if you could email me at james@stayntouch.com, I will take a look at that as well. Another integration that will be coming out soon is Infosys POS. That's actually Shiji POS, and we'll be rolling out that direct integration very soon as well. So we are recommending that one as well.
Another question about integrations. Jason asks, can the system be integrated with M3 accounting software?
Absolutely. We do have a back office export that we can set up with M3. You should probably reach out to your client success manager and let them know that's something you would like to roll out, and we can get that set up and scheduled through implementations.
Very good. And that seems to be the end of the queue. I'll give everybody a few more seconds. And as I'm not seeing any more questions, I would like to conclude the presentation. Thank you very much for attending, and thank you, James, for your insightful webinar and also your insightful answers to all of our great questions. If you have any additional questions, feel free to get in contact with either James or myself. James's email is james@stayintouch.com. My email is jderisi@stayintouch.com. That's jderise@stayintouch.com. And ask us anything you'd like. Thank you very much and have a nice day.